So we fold this is the first one into half. Like this.
Складов нужно так. В общем, нужно сложить, я так понимаю, эти письма. Каждый листочек так.
Am besten machst du doch die Reihe.
Es ist ein bisschen komplizierter als normal ist. Yeah. And with this one.
Das ist wieder eine Fabrikreihe. Also jemand macht nur eins, gibt es weiter.
Okay, can you sit like this? Hello, please. Let's do this quick. Can you sit like this in a row?
Can you translate for
Can you translate for me, please? Let's sit in a row.
It'll take some time.
10 minutes. Okay, do as much as you can then, please.
What's the Saturday?
I'm speaking. Daria, can you sit like in a row? Thank you. Here. This is the third one. Yeah, it's a lot of usually it's just through that way. Sure. Okay. Let's do this first then.
Okay. I'll start and otherwise you interrupt if you need to give some instruction.
Yeah, just let's just start.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prachachana Ranjana Shodanandana Prachachana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Rata Matava Kunja Bihari Jaya Rata Matava Kunja Bihari Rata Matava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava ki Jai Prabhupada ki Jai. Oh yeah, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayadiraye Nashta Prayeshu Apadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtikir. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, Text 26. Yai Shradaya Bharishi Bhakasho Havir Niruptam Ishtam Vidi Mantra Vastuta Eka Pritan Namabhir Ahuto Muda Krinanti Purna Swayam Ashisham Prabhu Yai Shradaya Bharisha Bhakasho Havir Niruptam Ishtam Vidi Mantra Vastuta Eka Pritan Namabhir Ahuto Muda Grinanti Purna Swayam Ashisham Prabhu Yai Shradaya Bharishi Bhagasho Havir Niruptamishtam Vidi Mantra Vastuta Eka Pritana Bhavir Ahuto Muda Grinati Purna Swayam Ashisham Prabhu. Yai. By whom? The inhabitants of Bharatvarsha. Shradhaya. Faith and confidence. Bharishi. In the performance of Vedic ritualistic sacrifices. Bhagashaha. By division. Havihi. Oblations. Niruptam. Offered. Ishtam. To the desired deity. Vidihi. By the proper method. Mantra. By reciting mantras. Vastutaha. With the proper ingredients. Eka. That one, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pritak. separate. Namabihi,
Namabihi,
by names.
by names.
Ahutaha,
Ahutaha,
called.
called.
Muda,
Buddha,
with great happiness.
great happiness.
Grinati,
Vinati,
he accepts.
accepts.
Purnaha,
Purnaha,
the Supreme Lord,
Supreme Lord,
who is full in himself.
full in himself.
Swayam,
Swayam,
personally.
personally.
Ashisham,
Ashisha,
of all benedictions.
all benedictions.
Prabhuhu,
Prabhu,
the bestower.
bestower.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In India, Bharatvarsha, there are many worshippers of the demigods, the various officials appointed by the Supreme Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, Surya, all of whom are worshipped differently. The worshippers of the demigods, their oblations, considering the demigods part and parcel of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raises the worshippers to the real standard of devotional service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even they worship only part of His transcendental body. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9:13, Lord Krishna says, "You living now?
Yeah.
Nitya Seva Madhachiki Jai. Hare Krishna. All the best. Safe journey. Hare Krishna." So that's not what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:13. So Krishna says, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti ashritaha bhajanti ananyamana sokyatvam bhutarim avayam. O son of Pritta, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Mahatmas, advanced devotees, worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others, however, who are also sometimes called Mahatmas, worship the Lord as Ekatvan Pritaktvena. In other words, they accept the demigods as different parts of Krishna and worship them for various benedictions. Although the devotees of the demigods thus achieve the desired results offered by Krishna, they have been described in Bhagavad Gita as Rita Jnana, not very intelligent. Krishna does not desire to be worshipped indirectly through the different parts of his body. Krishna wants direct devotional worship. Therefore, a devotee who directly worships Lord Krishna through staunch devotional service, as recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yachate Purusham Param, is very quickly elevated to the transcendental position. Nevertheless, devotees who worship the demigods, the different parts of the Lord, receive the benedictions they desire because the Lord is the original master of all benedictions. If anyone wants a particular benediction for the Lord to award, it is not at all difficult. Om Jnanatimidandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So again the text. In India, Bharatvarsha, there are many worshippers of the demigods, the various officials appointed by the Supreme Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, and Surya, all of whom are worshipped differently. The worshippers of the demigods, their oblations, considering the demigods part and parcel of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raises the worshipper to the real standard of devotional service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of His transcendental body. Hare Krishna. So, this text describes the relationship between the Devas and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or we can say God and the demigods. And of course we understand Krishna is the Supreme, and no one can be compared to Him. And all the other Devas, they are actually, of course they're powerful. These are powerful, very qualified personalities. I mean, compared to us, we are like nothing. They are extremely powerful. But compared to the Lord, they are also very insignificant, actually. Because no one can compare to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they are described here as part and parcel of the Lord, or just different body parts of His transcendental body. And they're also compared to, in the verse itself, it says, officials appointed. They are compared to ministers. You have a king, and the king has different ministers who work for him. So and therefore it says one should directly go to the king, and no need to bribe the minister. You can go to the king directly. And it's mentioned here that in the Gita, Krishna calls those who worship Krishna indirectly by worshipping these ministers or parts of His body are unintelligent. Krishna says there, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worshipping according to their own natures. And Krishna says, I am in everyone's heart as a supersoul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Which is interesting. Krishna is not envious, like, why you worship this Ganesha, why you worship Surya, you should worship me. You want to worship Ganesha? Okay, give you all faith, you can worship Ganesha. Endowed with such faith, the faith which they have received from Krishna, like nourish the faith from Krishna, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actually, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So even though they worship Ganesha or Surya, and they're very grateful to Surya, actually they should be grateful to Krishna, because Surya is not giving anything. He's just an instrument and serving on behalf of Krishna. And the one who actually gives is Krishna. And therefore, Krishna says, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So the conclusion is, those who are intelligent, they worship the demigods. Right? No, I'm just checking whether you're awake or... I mean, you're awake, but... yeah, those who are in intelligence, they worship Krishna. So that's basically the topic of today's class. Those who are intelligent, they worship Krishna. And why? Because the demigods actually they have no power on their own. And therefore, why not go directly to the one who has all power? There is this one pastime. Most of you have heard it. Once the demigods, after defeating the Asuras, they became a little bit puffed up again because they were victorious. So Krishna could see the demigods have become puffed up. And Krishna does not like pride. especially in his devotees. If Krishna sees that some of his devotees become proud, then Krishna, he's very expert in crushing the pride of his devotees. Can you think of some pastime where Krishna crushes the pride of his devotee? Brahma Mohana Lila, yes, exactly. Brahma thought, I'm Yogeshwara, I'm a great yogic mystic, I can just steal and trick Krishna, and Krishna showed who is the real Yogeshwara. Yes, other example?
Gopis,
Yes,
Rasa dance.
Rasa dance, he left, yeah. And when we stick to the Devas, we have another example. Govardhan. What Govardhan? Govardhan was proud? Indra, yes, Indra was proud. He became offended when they didn't worship him. And then just in order to crush the pride of Indra, Krishna arranged the whole pastime. I mean, there's always different reasons, but that was one of the reasons. So there was something similar happening. The Devas became proud of their position. There's another interesting pastime, Krishna crushing the pride of his devotees in regards to Arjuna. You know this story? After the battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna and Krishna were driving on the chariot, and Krishna could see that Arjuna developed some pride. Because Krishna said, we won the war, and I heard directly the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. No? I was the one who directly heard it from Krishna. So Arjuna had some kind of pride. And so Krishna made some arrangement. And then they saw there was a jackal running around a dead body. And the jackal was just, like running around, smelling, running around. And when Arjuna saw, he was like laughing. What kind of foolish jackal? You should rather just eat that dead body, because soon other animals will come, vultures, but he's just smelling. He's a foolish jackal. And then Krishna said, okay, let's stop the chariot. Let's ask the jackal why he's not eating. and then they stopped, and Krishna called the jackal, and the jackal came, folded his hands. Oh Lord, how can I serve you? And he said, well, please tell us, why do you not eat? Why you're only smelling? And the jackal said, oh Lord, you know everything. You're the Supreme Lord. You're in the heart of everyone, you know. But I can, of course, explain. And he said, I'm an animal, and I'm a very low creature. There is no way I can make spiritual advancement. But the only thing I can make sure, I only take food which is spiritualized, prasad. That's the only thing I can do as an animal, right? So before I eat a dead body, I smell. And I smell at the feet. And I can understand whether these feet ever have wandered to a holy place. If so, I will eat. If not, I will not eat. Then I smell at the hand. I can recognize whether these hands ever have done some devotional service. If they have done some devotional service, I accept Mahaprasad. If not, I will not touch them. It's Boga. Like that. And then he told all the parts of the body. And then Arjuna was standing there. This is a very, very intelligent jackal. And in this way, Arjuna's pride was crushed. So Krishna is expert. He's making arrangements. So there was this pastime with the Devas, because we're speaking of the Devas. And so Krishna saw they became proud, so he took the form of a yaksha. What is a yaksha? A yaksha is kind of a divine being. And so he took that form, and Indra became curious, who is that yaksha? What person is that? So he sent Agni and Vayu, you go and check out. So then first, you know that pastime? Okay, good. And then there first comes Agni, and he asked that yaksha, who are you? And the yaksha asked, who are you? Don't you know? I'm Agni, the fire god. Oh, no, I don't know you. Are you powerful? Yes, I'm very powerful. What can you do? I can burn anything to ashes. And that yaksha takes a little strohalm. Can you burn this one? And he feels insulted. Of course I can burn. And with all his power he tries to burn that little grass, but he cannot do it. And his pride is completely crushed and he leaves. And then comes Vayu. And then Vayu is same question, who are you? And the yaksha says, who are you? Don't you know I'm Vayu, the wind god? Are you powerful? Yes, of course. What can you do? I can blow away everything. Can you move this little grass? And with all his power he tried, but he could not even move it for a millimeter. And his pride was also crushed. So he also left. And then they reported to Indra, and Indra was quite amazed. And then Indra went there personally, but at that time the yaksha already left. There was Uma, the wife of Shiva, was there, and he asked, who was that personality? And then Uma was laughing at him. Don't you know? That was the supreme personality of Godhead. And Indra's pride was also crushed. So in this way, the Devas, compared to Krishna, they're powerless. They don't have power on their own. Whatever power they have, coming from Krishna. That's why those who are intelligent, they worship the Krishna. Okay. And another thing, if you worship the demigods, what will you get? Yeah, the temporary result. If you worship Krishna, you get eternal result. And if you worship the demigods, you get exactly what you asked for, right? I don't know. You want health. You want to have strength, a strong body, healthy body. You get a healthy body. You want to get a beautiful wife or a husband. You get a husband. You want to get money, wealth. You get wealth. So whatever you ask, that's what you get. And you can say, well, that's nice. No? Well, but Krishna has a very special characteristic that, and therefore everyone should worship Krishna.
Takes away your material desire at the same time.
Krishna kahe ama bache make vinaya sukha amata chaivina make para murka. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants opulences of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. So if you already worship Krishna, if you're already doing devotional service, but then you still have material desires, Krishna says such a person is a foolish person. He's murka. And he's like giving up nectar to drink poison. So what is this? And then he says, Ami vikya e murka vinaya kena dipa sacharanam rittadiya vinaya puliba. He says, okay, this person is a murka, is a foolish, but Krishna says, but I'm not foolish. No, I'm not foolish, I'm very intelligent. So why should I give that foolish person what he wants? Since I'm very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Indeed, I shall induce him to take the nectar of my shelter, of my lotus feet, and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So when someone engages in Krishna's devotional service for the satisfaction of the senses and instead acquires the taste to serve Krishna, he gives up his material desires and willingly offers himself as an eternal servant. So that's the special characteristic of Krishna. If you worship the Devas, they give what you want. And if you worship Krishna, he gives you what you need. Maybe not what you want. You maybe have some other ideas or some other desires. You want this, you want that. But Krishna says, no, I give you myself. You want something, but Krishna says, no, I give you myself. And once you actually achieve Krishna and realize that Krishna is the only thing or the only person you need, then you will give up all your material aspirations. And that's the very special characteristic of Krishna. He's very merciful. And because with the devas it's like business. You give something, you receive something. It's just a business. You bring your coconuts, your bananas, you do some worship, puja, and then you get what you want. But Krishna is much more personally involved. He sees what is good for you and gives you what you need. And sometimes Krishna also fulfills your material desires. Sometimes also. But how does he do it? In such a way, you will never ask again for it. If you still have some material desires, and you're kind of stubborn about it, you really want it, then Krishna says, okay, I'll give it to you, but I give it in such a way, afterwards you don't want it again. So basically, with that comes also some suffering, some misery, and you realize actually it's not a good idea. That's also, only Krishna does that, not the devas. And this makes Krishna very merciful, very kind, because he wants us to come back to him. That's what he wants. So therefore, in the purport, Prabhupada said, the Mahatmas, the great souls, the great devotees of the Lord, they are worshipping only Krishna directly. They are not interested in worshipping the devas. And Prabhupada often explained, bhakti, bhakti only actually applies to Krishna. Actually, there is something like Surya Bhakti or Chandra Bhakti. There's only Krishna Bhakti. Bhakti refers to Krishna. And there was once a conversation, I think at Juhu Beach with Indian. Prabhupada was arguing, the Indian was arguing, Prabhupada was explaining. And that Prabhupada would say that, Bhakti is only for Vishnu, Krishna. And then the Indian would argue, no, but we can also have Bhakti for Shiva, we can have Bhakti for Ganesha, Durga. And Prabhupada would say, no, if you go to a liquor shop, why is someone going to a liquor shop? What would you say? If someone enters a liquor shop, an Alkoholgeschäft, why he's going there, what he's going to do there? Most probably he will buy alcohol. So and Prabhupada says, so similarly, if someone goes to a demigod, what does he want? He wants some material enjoyment, some material. Usually, if you go to a demigod, you want something for yourself. And that's why you can't really call it bhakti. Yes, there can be some exception. Sometimes someone maybe goes to Shiva and actually he wants to worship Shiva just out of devotion. But it's rather rare. It's not really happening so often. Usually, those who approach the demigods always have some material desires and not just selflessly want to serve. But those who go to Krishna, Vishnu worship usually is meant to be selfless service for the pleasure of Krishna. So the Mahatmas, they are worshipping Krishna directly in that mood. So since Prabhupada quoted the shloka, Mahatmanas tumam partha, daivim prakritim ashritaha, we can also talk a little bit about who is a Mahatma. So now we defined that those intelligent, they worship Krishna. And now we want to talk about who are these intelligent people. These are the Mahatmas. So what would you say about who is a Mahatma? Gandhi. Yes, very good example. Gandhi is a Mahatma. Is that right? Actually, Gandhi has a very difficult position because he is the politician amongst the saint and the saint amongst the politician. he never really fitted in, right? If he would be surrounded by the politician, they would not take him serious because he was like a saintly person. And if he would be with a saintly person, they don't take him serious because he was a politician. So he was kind of somewhere in between. But yeah, of course, we may appreciate Gandhi's work. And Srila Prabhupada tried to cooperate with Gandhi. Actually, Prabhupada was a follower of Gandhi, first of all. In his youth, Prabhupada was following Gandhi. And later on, when Prabhupada started his own mission, he tried to cooperate with Gandhi. He wrote him several letters. But then sometimes Prabhupada also spoke a bit strong about Gandhi in the sense that, they call him Mahatma. But Mahatma means Daivi Prakriti Ashritaha. It means someone who has fully taken shelter of Krishna, who worships Krishna, and who spreads the glories of Krishna. But Mahatma Gandhi is more interested in politics. So in that sense, Prabhupada would also make the point, Mahatma is not just a title that you can give someone, but Mahatma, someone needs to be a pure devotee of the Lord, fully engaged in devotional service. So in the Upadeshamrita, text 2, Prabhupada gives the following explanation. The word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded, not cripple-minded. What is cripple-minded? How do you say in German? Cripple-minded in Deutsch? Broad-minded means, of course, very, liberal, broad understanding, and cripple means very narrow. Cripple-minded person always engage in satisfying their senses, sometimes expanding their activities in order to do good for others through some ism, like nationalism, humanitarianism, and altruism. They may reject personal sense gratification for the sense gratification of others, like the members of their family, community, or society, either national or international. Actually, all this is extended sense gratification, from personal to communal to social. This may all be very good from the material point of view, but such activities have no spiritual value. The basis of such activity is sense gratification, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the senses of the Supreme Lord can he be called a Mahatma, or a broad-minded person. This is a very strong statement, and not everyone will be able to understand or appreciate. Because basically Prabhupada says that to be just pious, that's nice, but that's not something spiritual. Just to be pious in itself. Some people are pious, some people are sinful. It's described that the wheel of samsara, the wheel of repeated birth and death, is like a wheel who goes up and if a wheel moves, it kind of turns, right? It goes up and down, up and down. So the conditioned soul sometimes acts pious, sometimes sinful. So papa and punya are just moving. Sometimes we are a very nice person. The next life we are very sinful. Then again we are nice and sinful. So that in itself is not of so much meaning. But only if someone actually starts to worship Krishna and practice spiritual life, then we can speak of Mahatma. In the above quoted verse of the Gita, the words Daivim Prakriti refer to the control of the internal potency or pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pleasure potency is manifested as the Radharani, or her expansions, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. When the individual's Jiva souls are under the control of the internal energy, their only engagement is to satisfaction of Krishna or Vishnu. This is the position of a Mahatma. If one is not a Mahatma, he's a Duratma. A Duratma, Mahatma, or a Duratma, or a crippled-minded person. Such mentally crippled Duratma are put under the control of the Lord's external potency, Mahamaya. Yes, and there is some are the Brahmanas and the others are the Kripanas. The Brahmanas are Mahatma broad-minded, and the Kripanas are the miserly, cripple-minded. So basically this is very powerful to understand that Daivim Prakriti Ashrita means that someone is directly working under the internal energy of Krishna. That means someone is actually directly working under the guidance of Srimati Radharani. And it's quite a difference whether you're working under the three modes of material nature, under your own mind and the senses, or whether you're working directly under Srimati Radharani. So there is a great difference. And therefore Prabhupada is so strong. You can't just call anyone Mahatma. A Mahatma means someone directly working under the internal potency of the Lord. So, and these Mahatmas are very, very dear to Krishna. They're very dear to Krishna. And they are completely selfless. So those who have attained Krishna, they only see Krishna Sambandha, the relationship between Krishna. They see how everyone, everything, every object is related to Krishna. Krishna is the only relationship. Krishna is Nitya Sambandha. Every jiva has a perfect, eternal, loving relationship with Krishna, and a complete Krishna conscious person has this vision. Well, that's we say the Uttama Bhagavat. He sees only Krishna everywhere, and even if he sees movable or unmovable living entities, he sees every living entity connected with Krishna. So a complete Krishna consciousness, that person, for that Premi Bhakta, Krishna is his most beloved, and Krishna is his object of love. Krishna is Prananath, is the Lord of his heart, of his life, and that Vaishnava sees that everything, every jiva is related to Krishna in loving relationship. So he has that vision. And therefore, how can he tolerate the suffering of the jivas? So his heart bleeds seeing the jivas who are suffering because of their forgetfulness of Krishna and their forgetful relationship with Krishna. So they are bereft of Krishna consciousness, and that's why they are suffering. And that's the only cause. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, the only need in this world is Krishna consciousness. It's the only need. Everything else is there, but the people have forgotten their relationship with Krishna. And because they don't know their relationship, they are suffering. So Sadhu, Vaishnava, they know the cause very well. And if they will develop Krishna consciousness, that lost consciousness, and become completely Krishna conscious, then there will be no suffering. They will go back home, back to Godhead. And that's why, what is the Sadhu Guru, what they're doing? They're preaching. They're sharing Krishna consciousness. In the Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha taktvaha tyaktya dehang punarjana naiti mam eti sorjuna. Krishna says, my appearance, my birth, my activities, they are not material, they are transcendental. And for those who know this in Tattva, they will not take birth again in this material world. Tyaktva dehang punar janma naeti mam eti sorjuna. After quitting the body, tyaktva deha, deha means the body, tyaktva means to give up the body, they will go back home, back to Godhead. So there is no doubt he will come to me. No punarjanma, no rebirth. Finish, no more. So a Vaishnava, Krishna's dear devotee, know this vision very well. So they know, if people only understand Krishna, if people only know who is Krishna in Tattva, they can go back to Godhead And that's why they are speaking about Krishna. Why was Prabhupada so keen to establish Krishna consciousness? Or like, he didn't want to call it International Society for God Consciousness. Right? There was some people were suggesting, but no, Swamiji, why do you call it International Society for Krishna Consciousness? Krishna is very foreign. People don't know Krishna. If you say God consciousness, people know, and it's much more universal. Prabhupada said, no. I have come here to introduce Krishna. People don't know Krishna, that's okay, but I'm telling them, this is Krishna. God is Krishna. This is God's name. That's why Krishna consciousness. And then the first, like the main book which was starting to be distributed, as we heard from Trai Prabhu in Simhachalam, it was Krishna book. Prabhupada was very eager to distribute Krishna book, give Krishna book, because he wanted to establish Krishna as the supreme. And if people just know about Krishna, Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma, they can return back home, back to Godhead. So therefore, the devotees, the Mahatmas, they are traveling and they are sharing Krishna consciousness. This is described also in the Bhagavatam. Here it says, great souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. So you have forgotten Krishna, and according to your prarabdha karma, you have been wandering here in lakhs of species of life, suffering. And Krishna's intimate dear devotee comes and wanders here in this material platform just to shower mercy on the suffering jivas, giving them Krishna consciousness. And that's the Mahatmas. The Mahatmas, they are trying to help us again understand Krishna. That's why we say, Om Agyana Timirandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. No? So the Guru's business is to open the disciples' eyes. So when the disciple is awakened from ignorance to knowledge, he can see the Supreme Lord everywhere. So that's the... so Guru, Sadhu, Mahajan, they open the eyes, and with that vision you can see Krishna's dear devotees. And otherwise, we are actually blind. With material vision, this is also a topic Bhaktisiddhanta often spoke. The conditioned souls, I'm the seer. No, we think I'm the seer, right? And basically, I'm the seer means I'm the enjoyer and controller. I'm in control, right? But actually, it's completely reverse. We are not the seer. Krishna is the seer, Sadhu Guru is the seer, and we are the seen. We are seen by Krishna or Guru. And when Guru casts his merciful glance on us, all bad fortune is gone and good fortune arises, and then we may also learn to actually see. And without that blessing, how can you see? Like when we come to the altar, we look at the deities, we think, oh, I see Jagannath. Today he has the deer outfit, painted deer outfit. So I think I see the Lord Jagannath. Right? Isn't it what you thought today? 7 o'clock. But actually, what happens at 7 o'clock at Darshan, Krishna sees you. That's what actually happens. We are presenting ourselves in front of the Lord, and Krishna looks at us and he sees us. And of course that's why we have nice tilak and sari and dhoti and we present ourselves. But of course Krishna sees our heart. Krishna is not only seeing our fresh put tilak, but Krishna sees our heart. Krishna sees our desires, our mentality, everything Krishna sees. That's why sometimes you see Indians, Prabhuji is from India, you see them doing this, you know? You have seen this? They're pulling the ear, like crossed arms, pulling the ears like this. What else do they do? Pulling the nose, or I don't know. Kind of funny. Yeah, this is actually a way to express. But actually, it's very deep because they understand. I'm now in front of the Lord. I'm in front of Bhagavan. Bhagavan sees me, so they feel very embarrassed. Like, oh, I'm standing in front of the Lord, and actually I did so much nonsense last week. So now I feel embarrassed. I apologize. Krishna, please forgive me. I did this nonsense. So that's a nice consciousness, because understanding, you're not just standing in front of some wooden dolls, but actually you're here in front of Bhagavan. So that's the understanding that Krishna is a seer, and we've been seen by Krishna. So Krishna is very eager to get us back to the spiritual world, and therefore Krishna makes different arrangements. What are the arrangements that Krishna is making? Yes, Krishna sends his dear devotees into the material world, and Krishna appears himself and performs his lila. Why does he perform his lila? Yeah, so we can attract it. Krishna basically invites us to come back to him, and the sadhus, they will remember these pastimes, and by hearing these pastimes we get purified, develop a desire to go back to Krishna. And he also gives the Vedas, Puranas, and then in order to understand the Vedas, the Tattva, he sends his own man, Guru, the bona fide representative, his dear devotees, Nijajana, the Nitya Siddhas, to preach Krishna consciousness. And then also he's there as Paramatma in our hearts. He's we have forgotten him, but he's always there. From within, he helps us. So, but unless such sadhu, Vaishnava, very dear, comes here and preaches the science of Krishna consciousness, how will the Jiva ever develop Krishna consciousness? It's impossible. So therefore Krishna makes these arrangements, and therefore we depend on the mercy of such devotees. That's why the Bhagavatam says, or better, Lord Rishabdev instructs his sons, and with this we will end. Hopefully you are finished with your... You're almost finished? Mahatsevam dvaram ahurvimukte stamo dvaram yoshitam sangi sangam mahantasto samachita prashanta vimanyava surita sadavoye. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to the highly advanced spiritual personalities. Whether one wants... These personalities are impersonalists or devotees, whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equiposed. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger, and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in an abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. Prabhupada explains the human body is like a junction. What is a junction? It's like a pathway. You go in this way or in that way. Yes. Yes, you need to discuss something?
One was printed less, some confusion.
We also don't know how many you need. Questions do we need it, maybe? Yes.
Some get it, some don't get it. Or
Yeah.
is it important?
This
don't think we really need this one.
The annual report,
Uh,
access. I guess it's mentioned somewhere, no? You can go to the website and find it. or something.
It's not mentioned, huh?
Annual report, what is it exactly? Like just the finances? Or?
no, the whole report. That's the most important.
Right,
It's
yeah.
the whole letter.
So we need it.
I have to print some more out. I'll bring it in a sec.
Okay, the human body is like a junction. Going back to the class. It's a transcendental Bhagavatam class today. One may either take the path of liberation or the path leading to hellish condition. How one can take these paths is described here. On the path of liberation, one associates with Mahatmas, and on the path of bondage, one associates with those attached to sense gratification. So basically that's what we can make a choice. And the important point here is that it says Mahat Sevam Dvaram Ahur Vimuktes Tamo Dvaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. So if someone serves the Mahatma, the Dvaram, the door for liberation opens. And if someone associates with those who are into sense gratification, especially enjoying sex life, Tamo Dvaram, the door to hellish planets open. So therefore, we better serve the Mahatmas and have their association, and in this way we can make our life perfect. So I read the text again. In India, Bharatvarsha, there are many worshippers of the demigods, the various officials appointed by the Supreme Lord, such as Indra, Chandra and Surya, all of whom are worshipping differently. The worshippers offer demigods their oblations, considering the demigods part and parcel of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Person of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raises the worshippers to real standard of devotion service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of His transcendental body. So we spoke about why an intelligent person worships Krishna, because the devas actually are dependent. They cannot give benediction on their own. Whenever they give benediction, it's actually by Krishna's mercy. Therefore, Krishna likes to be worshipped directly. And we also spoke about how Krishna has a special characteristic which is unique. The devas only give what we desire, but Krishna gives what we need. He helps us to actually become Krishna conscious. And then we spoke about who are these persons, the intelligent ones, those who worship Krishna. These are the Mahatmas. And we defined who a Mahatma is. And we also mentioned how we should serve such Mahatmas in order to become Mahatmas ourselves. And then we also spoke how Mahatmas are very merciful and they share Krishna conscious with everyone, because that's the only way to get free from suffering. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Yes.
So, the demigods also worship Krishna, so why would they want like people to worship them? For example, Lord Shiva, he was the biggest devotee of Krishna,
Mm-hmm.
so why would they want other people to worship him instead?
Why do they want to be worshipped themselves? I mean, whether they want or not, people worship them. Because they are also devas. They are very great, powerful personalities. So people, they have powers. They are like the ministers. So they have a lot of power. They have a lot of influence. Like, let's take Indra. He's the king of heaven, and he is responsible for rain. Like that's his job, his responsibility, to make sure that there is rain on the earth. So people know Indra is responsible and he's powerful. He can give rain, he can withhold rain, and therefore they worship him. Whether Indra wants it or not, that's a different story. Of course, if you're worshipped by people, at some point you might start to like it. No? In the beginning you may understand, okay, they worship me, but actually Krishna is the supreme and I only receive my blessings from Krishna. And that's why if they worship me, I give it to Krishna. And that's actually how also devotees, Vaishnavas, a guru, if a guru is worshipped, what is the guru doing with that worship? He gives the worship to Krishna. Once Atma Tattva Prabhu, the Indian Atma Tattva, he tells a story how he came to Prabhupada. And he saw Prabhupada sitting on a Vyasasan and people were offering Guru Puja. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati. People offering flowers and arti. And Atma Tattva, he was like, wow, this person sitting there and everyone worshipping him, you know, what does he think who he is? You know, he's enjoying that he's enjoying the worship. He was kind of a little bit critical. How is that person receiving so much glorification? And then Prabhupada, he would meet Prabhupada and Prabhupada could understand his heart, and probably with tears in his eyes he would say, actually, this worship, whatever worship I receive, I give it to my spiritual master. And my spiritual master gives that worship to his spiritual master. And in this way the worship actually is given to Krishna, because he is the object of worship and he deserves worship. So that's the humility of a sadhu, of a guru. If someone shows respect to the guru and oh, you're doing so much, then the guru takes that and he gives it away. So the demigods are meant to do that also. If Shiva is worshipped, Indra, Surya is worshipped, they are meant to give that worship to Krishna and not become illusioned. But the problem is you can get intoxicated. If people start to worship you and respect you, then it can become very intoxicating, because that's kind of a subtle way to enjoy. Gross way is just sex life. Subtle way is to enjoy people admiring you, worshipping you. And that can become intoxicating, and then sometimes people forget their real position, and then they start to say, yes, actually everyone should worship me, and if they stop, they become angry, like Indra became angry when they stopped the worship, like that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
But in that sense, for example, instead of worshipping the guru, like, should we not worship Krishna directly?
Very good question. When we take that logic, we said there is a demigod, they represent God, and then we said those who are intelligent worship directly Krishna. Then doesn't it also apply to Guru? Why do we worship Guru? We can directly worship Krishna. It's a good question, yeah. Well, the demigods are ministers who do some job, but then the devotees of Krishna, Guru is understood to be Sri Krishna Kripa Murti. That means he is a manifestation of Krishna's mercy. That means Krishna is the original spiritual master, yes. And actually Krishna himself wants to save the conditioned soul. Krishna himself wants to save you. And sometimes Krishna comes to save his devotees. Like we remember the pastime of Gajendra, you know the pastime of the crocodile and the elephant? There was one elephant in the water enjoying with his wife. They had kind of a, holiday, and they're enjoying in the water. And then a crocodile came and attacked and bit his leg. And then there was a long fight between the crocodile and the elephant. But because they were in the water, the crocodile was more powerful. On the land, the elephant is more powerful, but in the water, the crocodile was more powerful. And then the elephant was taking a with his trunk, taking a lotus flower, offering prayers, and asking Krishna for help. And then actually Vishnu on Garuda personally came with the Sudarshan Chakra and killed that crocodile. So sometimes Krishna personally comes to save his devotee. But that's not, usually it's not like that Krishna every time comes himself. So if Krishna wants to save Dharya, he's not coming himself, but he comes in the form of a spiritual master. Then he sends his devotees, and the devotee then will save you. That's how Krishna arranges. So the spiritual master basically is an instrument through which Krishna is working. And that's why we need... And also another thing is, Krishna likes it that way. Krishna, the Prabhupada says that there's an English saying, if you like me, you like my dog. Have you heard that? If you like me, you like my dog. What does it mean? If you like someone, you also like those things or person who are close to that person. You can't just... Basically, if you get married, you also marry a whole family in the background. No? It's like... you like a girl, and you get married with a girl, but all of a sudden you have a step... like how we call this? Stiefmutter, no, not Stiefmutter. Schwiegermutter. Mother-in-law. You have to deal with the mother-in-law and with the grandma and all the family members. So you have to love them also. No? So Krishna says, if you love me, you also need to love my devotees. And I want to test that. You first show how you love my devotees, and if you're able to love my devotees, then you can love me also. So Krishna basically wants to have also recommendation. I tell the story usually. Someone, like some months ago, someone walked into the door with some backpack, and a person said, I want to stay here overnight. And I was a bit hesitant, because usually if someone wants to stay overnight, they send an email, they write to Adi Keshava Prabhu, he tells them, we have a free room, we don't have a free room. If you just show up with a backpack, I'm staying here overnight. But then he said, I'm the son of Vasu Ghosh. Oh, you're the son of Vasu Ghosh? Of course, come in, please. Now, just by saying that, the situation completely changed, 180 degrees. Why? Because there was a recommendation, there was a connection. So if we go in front of Krishna, of course Krishna knows everyone, but still, we are one of many conditioned souls. But if there is a spiritual master recommending us, Krishna, this is a very nice devotee, please accept him. By that recommendation, Krishna will take us. So we need a recommendation, and that's through the Guru. The Guru gives recommendation. So that's why we not approaching Krishna directly, but we're approaching Krishna through spiritual master. And of course, spiritual master means there's Shiksha, Diksha Gurus, and there is more advanced and less advanced Gurus. That's also there. But Krishna works through different agents, different people. Yeah. Like that. Makes sense? Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna.
So this topic of the Krishna, sometimes we say Krishna reciprocates how we approach him.
Mm-hmm.
So, it seems like he reciprocates according to our desire, no? So, but then we hear, no, but actually he's fulfilling another, like what he thinks is good. So, how do we understand this? And
yes.
It also seems like in this way he kind of
oversteps the free will.
Yes, he doesn't take our free will into consideration. So what do we say to that?
Good question. So the question is, we hear Yeyatamam Prapadyante, that Krishna is reciprocating with everyone according to their desire. At the same time, we heard, this was a statement from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna actually says, I'm not a foolish person, I give them taste in devotional service. So how is that? How can we understand that? Right. Good question. I don't know. Anyone has a proposal, a suggestion? Why is that? What is now true? Is Krishna just interacting according to our desire, or is Krishna actually interfering and trying to get us?
Sorry, what was the question?
No, we asked it 4 times. It's a costly question.
So, in the class, I quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Krishna says, "I'm not a fool."
What is this? Is tomorrow's purport?
Oh yeah?
What you spoke today is the verse tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I
It's
don't.
the purport, the verse actually.
Oh yeah, really?
Word for word. I never saw it.
Oh really? No. No, this is famous. I mean, often repeated, yeah. But it's tomorrow in the purport, huh?
Yeah,
Oh.
my class is basically.
Okay, good. So you can answer the question tomorrow. You can do a little research and then answer the question tomorrow. That's the best way to do it. No, but the point is that Krishna says that he's not a foolish person. Even if someone approaches him with material desires, instead of just fulfilling that desire, he wants to give us taste in devotional service. So that means Krishna is basically manipulating, no? I go to Krishna, please make me rich. I want to have a lot of money. And Krishna says, you're a fool, why do you want money? I make you a devotee. And then all of a sudden we start, I actually like to become a devotee of Krishna, I don't need money. So it seems that Krishna is kind of manipulating. But then we also hear in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna himself says, everyone is following my path, but I reciprocate according to everyone's, the way you approach me, I reciprocate with you. So that seems like a,
So actually, sorry.
yeah.
Actually, it seems like this verse itself is kind of twist, So first he says,
Yeah, but
like
then,
this, I do, what you want, I reciprocate.
but
then
everyone
the second
follows
line,
everyone follows my path.
But everybody does what I want. So it's already in the verse. I already it's a lot. It's like,
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, Krishna says, I do what according to your desire. At the same time, everyone follows my path. Well, maybe we could say that because at the end of the day, everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, and nobody is independent, right? The jiva is not independent; it's always dependent on Krishna. In this way, everyone follows my path, not mine, but Krishna's path. Right? Because either you serve Krishna or you serve Maya. And Maya is also an energy of Krishna. So you also serve Krishna indirectly. You cannot, you have to serve Krishna. Basically, there's not much choice. So, yes.
Once you become but once you become like a devotee, then you reciprocate with your desires.
Yeah, that's one way to see it. That that's also Baladev Vidyabhushan explains this in regards to Krishna's neutrality. Krishna says, "I'm neutral. I'm not envy anyone. I'm not anyone's friend or enemy. I'm completely neutral. But I'm very dear to my devotees," Krishna says. So basically, as a Paramatma, as a super soul, Krishna is very neutral. But as soon someone is surrendering to the Paramatma, Krishna is not neutral anymore. Because that person has surrendered. And now he's my devotee, and now I interfere into his life. So that's one possible answer. That yes, Krishna is neutral, as long as we are in Maya. So Krishna respects our free will. Because we have turned away from Krishna. We have consciously decided, I don't want to be with Krishna, I want to be independent. So Krishna respects that, and we enjoy our life. But as soon as we turn towards Krishna, And at least one time we say to Krishna, Krishna, I'm your eternal servant, I belong to you. Even one time we say this from the heart, Krishna will take it seriously. We may change our mind, and we may be bloop and go in a different direction, but Krishna has seen that. No, he's taking it seriously, and from that point on, Krishna is interfering in our lives, and Krishna is bringing us back. So I think that would answer the question. I mean, it's an attempt to answer it, but maybe Adi Keshava has another. Adi Keshava, you wanted to? Yes.
When we sing to Prabhupada, Prasade Puri Sarva Asa,
Yeah.
by His grace
All
our desires
will be fulfilled, yes. It's another way to fulfill all desire, to worship Guru. Yes?
Yeah, but does it, our material desire, does it mean we're gonna, I think when we chant to Tulsi too, it says, by your mercy all our desires are fulfilled. But yeah, we have these,
Now we should all win in the lottery now. We should win in the lottery now. No, I think it's understood to be the desire of the soul, the desire of the sadhaka, the desire to be with Krishna, all our spiritual desires, to be with Krishna, to serve Krishna in a particular way.
He could even give us all the material desires.
Sure.
He's so powerful.
Yeah, he is powerful. But then again, why should he do it? No.
Sure.
Yeah. Like Krishna, he would also say, I'm not foolish, why should I do it?
Yeah, I think it just also goes to show the other point about desire and and then Krishna also doing what he's doing. It's like our free will is very small, very, very small. So if we think about free will and we think, yeah, that means we can do anything and whatever. But actually, it's very small.
Yeah, that's an interesting question also. Like, I remember one devotee made this point. If you go to a shop and you buy a packet of cigarette, I mean, of course we don't smoke, but if you would, and you make a decision, should I buy Camels or Marlboro? Who makes that decision? Is it the spiritual soul who has the freedom to make the decision? Which kind of cigarette he buys? No. I mean, it's maybe a stupid example, but but who makes that decision? No, we have a free will. Who makes a decision? Which package of cigarettes we buy? But the answer is it's material nature. It's basically the guna program, and that basically means that the free will of the soul is so minute, it's so limited. Basically, we can either turn towards Krishna or turn away from Krishna. And that's exactly what the spiritual soul, that's the freedom we have. Either towards Krishna or away from Krishna. And everything else is the guna program that is running in our psychophysical nature of our yantra rudhani mayaya. No? It says that the living entity is situated just like on a machine, and that machine is moved by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, and of course, Krishna is not moving it himself, but he's doing it through the material energy. So, and he was just sitting on this machine, just sitting in his chariot, and this chariot is moved by the material modes. And we are not the doer, we are not acting, we're not making much decisions. We're just watching the show. And our only free will is to Krishna or not Krishna. It's quite an amazing concept in reality if you think about it. And of course, the more sattva guna you develop, the more freedom you get. And that's a characteristic of sattva, that you become liberated. Because in Rajas and Tamas, you're completely under the three modes of material natures. You're like a zombie. No? And that's actually most of the people in this world, they're like zombies. Just like acting according to their program. You know? There's not much free will. But the more sattva guna, if people who have sattva guna, they're much more, there's more freedom. And they can, like an example, if someone provokes you, have you ever experienced that someone spits in your face? Have you experienced that? I have experienced it, I think, twice. Yeah, and once someone has poured some drink in my face. Like, I don't know, it was some choco drink or something, just smashed in my face. And twice someone's like spit in my face. This is very embarrassing. I mean, very provoking situation. How do we react?
When did that happen?
I mean, many years ago.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, that's it. Luckily. Oh, yeah, but when I give classes, regularly people throw tomatoes and eggs or something. Boo, boo. No, not like that. But anyway, this is maybe stupid. But just if someone provokes you, how do you react? If you are influenced by tamaguna or rajaguna, you will immediately react with the same energy. No, someone slaps you, you immediately slap back. Someone shouts at you, you immediately shout back. And you don't have a freedom to think about it. You don't have any freedom because your program is just reacting. And of course, that's why people, controlled by anger, they do crazy things. Some people, they beat their wives or their children or they do crazy things because they're overcome by anger. And afterwards they regret. Because they are forced to act in such a way. But if someone has developed more sattva guna, then you can, if something happens, you can, oh, wait a minute, like Satchidananda Maharaj gives the traffic light analogy. Have you heard that? Traffic light. Someone provokes you, instead of reacting, you put on red. Okay, stop. Now I have to think about, how should I react? Should I beat him also? Should I insult him also? Or should I maybe just tolerate it or walk away? Or what should I do? So then it's orange, I think, and then you put on green and then you act. And that's what a human form of life is, the difference between human and animal. Animal will just react. No? Animal acts according to instincts, just reacting. But a human being has that capacity to to make a decision. It's interesting. The word responsibility, as a human, you have more consciousness, but with consciousness comes also responsibility. And in English, the word responsibility, the ability to respond in a certain way, right? And that ability to respond in a certain way is not there in the lower modes. If you're influenced by tamaguna and rajaguna, you're not able to make a decision, but you're just forced to act. And in that way, we are very conditioned, but the more we develop sattva-guna, we become more free. And then, of course, the whole program, Prabhupada gave us the whole morning program, this is all meant to raise us out of the lower modes. And it eventually, of course, from sattva then to Shuddha sattva to the transcendental abode. Gornita is mobile, sounds like coming from the altar. Okay, how do we ended up in this? I don't know what was the question or the topic before, but desire. Free will, desire, okay, yes. So if you want to have more freedom, we have to overcome rajas and tamas. And of course, ultimate freedom, if you become a devotee of Krishna, and you give your independence back to Krishna, because now we are I have my independence, I want to do it myself. But as a devotee, we kind of, again, give our independence back to Krishna and just become an instrument in his hands. And then we want to just do whatever Krishna wants us to do. And that's true freedom. It sounds paradox, but to just want Krishna's desire, that's the true freedom. Because then we are properly situated as Krishna's servant and we will be happy. Like that. Alright, I think all the papers are folded and put in the envelopes, and that means we can end the class. Hare Krishna, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Vansha Kalpa Drupascha Kripa Sindhu Jai.
This is too much.
Four. How many you have that one?
How many you have? Speak English, please.
Two more.
One more we need.
Is
We don't have.
Mr. Mine.
Hush,
Krishna Prema Rupa Jai.
What about the different things I should have broken? For you,
Okay, this is for you. It's an incomplete.
no, there was one in German. Okay. This is
Mission complete. I think
have to show that to you.
No, the other, all of that.
It was one of the first. It was one of the first. Yeah, of course. Why should they send it to me from here? It's, I received it back.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Should I go to the paper with them, like download? Or it's on carton?
This goes in the office. I'll take it up. I'll be back in a sec. This is from the office. I have to take it up. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just put this in the second.
Because in the
I'm just going to, and then I think education guy needs to take this also if you want to.
like one second.
Gaan we zeggen overleggen anders? Op de rood is.
Ah, ja.
This one? Should I say something? You tell me.
To the-
If you will come back.
To the office? Okay, yes. Please take these. That's-
Yes, yes, yes. Very good.
That's yours. Oh, I read it here.
In a team, you're very fast.
Yeah, amazing.
Very fast.
Very
Imagine you do that alone. Oh my god.
No way. I think we'll take the morning.
Hours.
Hours.